A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict.
And I'm Sarah LaFonseca. Before we head into our stories, first we'll take a look at headlines.
Curfew for the Kandy district until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Kandy municipality not affected. All schools in Kandy will reopen on Monday. 146 arrested for violence in Kandy. 2 teenagers arrested for spreading racially abusive material on social media. Colombo High Court rejects bail for Arjuna Aloysius and Kasun Palisena.
A curfew was imposed for the Kandy Administrative District, excluding the Kandy municipality, from 8 p.m. today to 5 a.m. tomorrow. This afternoon, the police media spokesperson commented on the ground situation in Kandy.
We have made a total of 146 arrests. Among them are 11 suspects who violated the curfew. They will be produced in court as per the provisions of the emergency regulations, and if found guilty, they will be sentenced to 7 years in prison. The situation in Kandy was very peaceful today. Taking into account the security situation, the curfew imposed from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow will not be in effect for the Kandy municipality. The IGP decided to impose the curfew for all other areas in the Kandy Administrative District. The Terrorist Investigation Division arrested 10 people for instigating disharmony. They were moved to Colombo after obtaining detention orders for 14 days. The investigations are ongoing. We are investigating any financial assistance given to them, as well as indirect political leadership and international leadership given to them. We are investigating their connections to each incident reported in the recent days. The Criminal Investigations Department made 2 arrests last evening and today. 2 suspects were arrested for spreading information that caused communal disharmony. One is aged 17 from Homagama and the second is 18 years old from Kolpiti. Using social media for such incidents brings a negative impact on the country. This is a serious crime and we will implement the law against it.
Now, all schools in the Kandy district which were closed this week will reopen on Monday.
Army Commander Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake met with members of the Kandy Traders Association today. Following the meeting, the commander spoke to the media.
Overall, the situation is very peaceful. If there is any requirement, the army is standing by to deploy more personnel. However, we cannot resolve the problem merely by deploying personnel. The people of this area need to trust the government, the armed forces and one another. I believe this situation will be resolved within a couple of days. Steps can be taken to lift the curfew. I will brief the President and other officials on this. I believe the correct people have been arrested. If they are treated legally in the proper manner, it will be a good lesson for others not to take part in things of this sort. Up to now, investigations have revealed that one soldier who was on leave took part in one of these incidents. He has been arrested. I will take action against him in accordance with the laws of the army. There might be army deserters who took part in these things. I request these groups not to use such individuals. If there is a deserter in your village and if he or she is taking part in these activities, call us and help us apprehend them.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa held discussions with all religious leaders in Kandy today.
Several religious leaders, including the Anunayaka Theros of the Malwatu and Asguhi chapters of the Siam sect, attended the discussion held at the residence of MP Lohan Ratwatta in Mahayava, Kandy. Lord Buddha, Allah and Jesus did not preach to create divisions in communities. They all believed in the concept of a society driven by religion. So we will convey this message in temples and we request you to do the same. We do not prioritize the Arab countries, England and westernized countries. We prioritize the Sinhala culture. We are used to eating milk rice during the Sinhala New Year season. We do not go to the Arab countries when we are hungry. This is a Theravada Buddhist country. We will not go beyond that. We used to get jambu and olives from temples. We pluck king coconuts when the monk was not in the temple. We go to the temple even to fix our broken hands. We will not forget these. Now they accuse us of mixing food with unnecessary and unhealthy ingredients. Karma will punish us if we do something like that. According to what Prophet Muhammad preached, we will fall into the hole we dug for someone else. Can we forgive when a few people fight, ignoring everyone who wants to solve this issue? Punish them in any way you prefer. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa spoke to the media following the discussions. We discussed about the importance of being patient to act in a way that will not create problems. The government should be held responsible. It's not only about the law. The police is the government. The main issue was that when they were admitted to hospital with serious injuries, the culprits were released on bail. This sent a wrong message to the people. They were arrested after the victim died.
While the former president expressed those views, JVP parliamentarian Bimal Ratnayaka had this to say in parliament.
Rajapaksa got a mandate through the local government election, and within these groups who gave this mandate are a group of extremists. This is the truth. This is how these extremists got the physical power for all this. They started working against halal after winning the 2010 election. The editorial on the Divine read, quote, "When the Sinhala youth died, 4 Muslim youth were supposed to be arrested and placed in remand. It did not happen," unquote. We are not speaking on behalf of the police. We have a number of outstanding issues against them. I request this be entered into Hansard. This was published on the 22nd, and by the 23rd they were arrested and 1 person was placed in remand. By the 24th, 2 others were remanded. There is an opinion that goes to the public that even though the Sinhala youth was murdered, the culprits were not arrested, and this is why the Sinhalese did this. These ministers of law and order, the Prime Minister and President, do not feel about the common man. These lies that are being used to incite racism should be highlighted. MP Dinesh Gunawardena, please stay. I need to tell this to you. Listen to what I have to say. When we speak of these racist things that your people do, you leave. I am saddened that these learned individuals are criticizing us personally. See, he is leaving. Through Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, anyone can say anything. How are we to know the truth from the false? What happened to us? We had to temporarily ban these social media sites. I propose to Parliament that a presidential commission be appointed to the incidents that transpired. We need to know the truth. It was clear to us that UNP groups were behind the incidents that transpired in 1983. The new UNP MPs need to know about these things. When needed, they use racism to bolster their power. This is the UNP. We all know that one extreme group brought the halal issue into the limelight. Where did they get money from? It came from Norway. When we come into power, forces against us mingle with us and work against us in order to incite racism. Under these circumstances, we fall in trouble. The former Defence Secretary worked hard to protect the Budubala Sena during his time in office. Gotabaya Rajapaksa was the chief guest who was invited to declare open their office building. We came into power highlighting all this. It has been 2.5 years. What steps have we taken as a government to stop this? Nothing. I complained to the Prime Minister. I complained to the Minister of Law and Order. I went to the police headquarters on multiple occasions and lodged complaints under my name. Nothing was done. As a government, nothing has been done. I am ashamed as a government MP for remaining in this government. Throughout history in this chamber, we have used the words national reconciliation on thousands of occasions. However, the people who speak of these things on stage get off the stage and say something completely different. This is the truth. If Sinhalese and Muslims are killed because of their religions, what type of country have we created? We should all be ashamed. There is no use in pointing fingers at each other. Isn't this the ground reality? We are responsible for each teardrop that falls as well as each drop of blood that is spilled. We are all responsible. We made temples, schools and churches, but we didn't make proper human beings. Find out who is responsible for these incidents. Do it in a way where all political parties can get involved in this. Appoint a parliamentary select committee. Without pointing fingers, then we will be able to face these allegations. This committee could recommend what actions should be taken for non-recurrence.
We are headed fast for the precipice once more. The recent attacks in Kandy Ampara, Gintota, Aludgama and other areas can be drawn a parallel to a return to the dark days of July 1983. Today, we are in a similar predicament where undesirable elements have spread a campaign of hate and fear against not just the Muslim community but against our fellow Sri Lankans, and moreover are attempting to pose the threat to our strongest weapon, our identity as a united Sri Lanka, citizens of one resplendent, diverse and rich nation. This government has gone further than others in ensuring that equality and human rights of all Sri Lankans are adhered, honoured and given due precedence. However, the events of the last few weeks are evident that we still have a long road ahead for us. Looking ahead, we should brace ourselves to face the unfortunate after effects of Kandy, its economic setbacks and the divisive agenda that could follow. It is very obvious that these incidents are not isolated incidents but are acts that are being carried out in a conspiratorial manner by organised faction. Although on the surface it looks as if the violence is unleashed against Muslim community, it should be made clear that myriad sinister motives in fact exist in the interior.
Well, you heard the views expressed by the former president. You heard the views that were expressed in Parliament. One thing is clear from the statements that have been made. It seems like there are political forces behind the incidents that have transpired. Of course, the people who are implicated in this incident, the people who are responsible for these incidents have been revealed, are in the process of being revealed. Now, some politicians claim that the political forces behind these incidents are certain individuals. They describe these individuals as a tall, thin man wearing a national, or where there are counterclaims that this individual is a pig, or that this individual is someone who uses a lot of defenders in the Kandy area. But one thing is clear, all these statements lead to the point that there are political forces behind the incidents that transpired in this country. It seems that Sri Lanka is tackling this issue of finding out who these culprits are. The United Kingdom had faced similar issues and they have reached a decision. Let's take a look at this before we continue with this discussion.
The leader and deputy leader of the far-right group Britain First have been found guilty on several counts of religiously aggravated harassment. Paul Holding and Jada Franson were arrested over the distribution of leaflets and posting of online videos. The judge told the court the pair were well known, controversial and generate their own publicity. He said their words and actions demonstrated hostility towards Muslims and the Muslim faith. The group gained international notoriety when Donald Trump shared several of Franson's Twitter posts last year, sparking a diplomatic row after Theresa May condemned the action. Both Franson and Golding have since been banned from Twitter in a crackdown on extremism and hate speech.
Just a few minutes ago, you heard the views of the Batticaloa District MP from the SLMC comparing the incident that transpired in the country at present to the incidents that transpired in the dark days of 1983. These are his words. Now, what happened in 1983? Of course, we are talking about Black July, or Kalu Julia as it is known in Sinhala. Now, in Black July, the incidents that transpired grew to such an extent because the leaders who were in power at that time failed to take action or turned a blind eye. We later got to know that there were certain ministers within the administration back in 1983 who supported these people to come to Colombo, loot properties and destroy properties in the chaos that ensued. What happened afterwards? Sri Lanka was pushed into a 30-year-long conflict that set our country back years and years. Now, what is happening in the country today? To break that down, we need to understand the current political context that Sri Lanka is going through. Now, we all know that back in February, the Pohottua or the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna won the local government elections. Now the people who represent the Podujana Perumuna or the Pohottua are the same people who were in power from 2005 to 2015, a decade. Now we all remember what happened, the incidents that transpired and everything that took place during this decade-long period that they were in power. And lest we forget, the people who are currently in the government have been repeating it so much so that we do not forget back during the campaign trail and after coming into power as well. After winning the local government election, their motives became very clear. They came before the public and they said, we need a general election. Why do they need a general election? Obviously, to come back into power. Is this because they want to serve the country once again? They want to do what they couldn't do in the 10 years? Highly doubtful. Now let's take a look at the other side of the aisle, our Honorable Prime Minister and the government. Our Honorable Prime Minister suffered his 30th election defeat at the hands of the Podujana Perumuna, as I mentioned earlier. And then he faced a revolt from within his own party for the leadership of the party. And then more challenges came his way. What? A no-confidence motion from the opposition, and then a no-confidence motion or talks of no-confidence motions from within his party himself. These are all challenges that the Prime Minister and the government are facing at present. But wait, there's one more. Lest we forget, the good friend of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, the person that he vouched for, former governor of the central bank, Arjuna Mahendran, who is at a critical stage in the inquiries into the bond scam. Now back in 2015, when he started reporting on the bond scam, not many people understood the complexities and the nuances of what we were saying. When we started talking about the Central Expressway and the dealings that were going on with regard to this deal, not many people understood. However, the people have not been fooled by politicians in this instance. Because of the actions of the general public of this country, we have been saved from another calamity that could have pushed us to another war. So the people of this country, it seems, it's not easy to fool them or hoodwink them. Now speaking about the government, we know that there are high-ranking ministers within this government and there are close associates of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe as well. We remember two big names or high-ranking ministers within this government who hail from the Kandy area where these events transpired. One, of course, is Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla, who was very proactive in attempting to bring the Central Expressway to Kandy. But when these incidents transpired, did you see Lakshman Kiriyalla going to Kandy to try and ease the situation? Did you see him acting proactively in order to resolve this situation? If you missed it, then it seems that we have missed it too. What about Malik Samaravikrama? Yes, Malik Samaravikrama is not an elected representative of Parliament. One can say he does not have to do this, or he does not feel the pulse of the people, so he might be a bit oblivious to it. But he is someone who lives in Kandy. But we did not see him in Kandy when these events transpired. So this is the current political context under which these incidents have transpired. On one hand, you have the Pohottua or the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna who want to come back into power. On the other, you have a Prime Minister and a government who are desperately trying to cling on to power. So these incidents are happening in this context, where two opposing political factions are trying to regain power and hold on to power. But thank God for the people of this country have thought and acted in the correct way in order to stop a calamity that could have happened. These public representatives are our representatives. We elect them into power. But in their fight for power, it seems that they have forgotten why we, the people, elected them to power. They have forgotten the farmers who are suffering without water, who have not been able to cultivate without water. They have forgotten the plight of the farmers who do not have fertilizer to grow their crops. They have forgotten the plight of the laborers who skip meals so that they can provide for their children. They have forgotten the children who travel miles and miles so that they can get access to clean drinking water. These are the concerns of the public. The public do not really care who comes into power, who stays in power. What do the public want right now? We believe that the public wants an independent and impartial investigation into the incidents that transpired in Kandy and Ampara. We believe that the public wants the culprits who are behind this, the political forces that are behind this, to be brought before justice. Now, when we speak about that, there is one more thing I need to add. A small group carried out these actions, this destruction. They destroyed property, they burned down houses. And now the president has instructed the armed forces to rebuild these properties that were damaged. Who will end up paying for these rebuildings? Or who will end up supporting our fellow countrymen? It is us. Our money will eventually be used to rebuild their lives. And this is what the current political context has gifted us as a country. Now, as I said before, the names of people involved in these incidents have been revealed, and more names are on the way. The saying goes, the cat is out of the bag, but in this case, there are more cats coming out of the bag in the coming days. So, as the saying goes once again, you can fool all the people some of the time. You can fool some of the people all the time, but not all the people all the time. I'm Ramesh Rugal Bandara. It's back to the news studio.
Convening a media briefing in Colombo today, the Religious Council elaborated on the need to maintain peace in the country.
Our lives are very short. We should live happily, leaving racial discrimination, caste and creed aside. I believe that we should follow the middle path in everything we do. I kindly request not to create any conflicts. If you love the country, you should bring this to an end. This is not called patriotism. Patriotism is not where you kill people. That is where you build people. This is not something that happened between two communities. This was done by a minor force to a certain community. There was no harm from the Buddhist community. When there was a rumor, there is a threat to a mosque, a Buddhist monk and a group of Buddhist young men visited the mosque to safeguard it. This book is published in Hindi. The book is about Anagarika Dharmapala. The speciality is this was written by an author named Shakil Ahmad Siddiq. He is a Muslim. Even the Sinhalese and Muslim fight. Shakil and I will never do that. He is not a Muslim to me. He is a friend to me. We faced many problems for 30 years because there was no unity among us. In a peaceful environment, now there are racial problems. We should stop this at the initial stages. We should respect other religions and communities like we respect ours. There should be an understanding between us. Problems arise when we are not patient. Every religion preaches about love. We as Sri Lankans should come together as one.
The Colombo High Court has dismissed the revision bail application filed on behalf of the owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjun Aloysius, and its CEO, Kasun Palisena.
Arjun Aloysius and Kasun Palisena both have been remanded until the 15th of March by the Fourth Magistrates Court. However, earlier, attorneys appearing for the duo filed a revision bail application with the Colombo High Court. Colombo High Court Judge Sampath Vijayaratna today dismissed the application, citing the order issued by the Fourth Magistrate to remand Aloysius and Palisena was legal. The High Court judge did not issue notice on the Criminal Investigations Department and the Attorney General, who were named as respondents in the application. Former Central Bank Governor Lakshman Arjuna Mahendran, who is suspect number 1 in the case filed at the Fourth Magistrate Court, is now in default of appearing before the director of the CID in accordance with the order issued by the magistrate. He was requested to appear before the CID before midnight yesterday. The case filed against Lakshman Arjuna Mahendran, Arjun Aloysius, Kasun Palisena and Perpetual Treasuries Limited will be taken up on the 15th at the Fourth Magistrates Court. According to the B report which was filed in court earlier, Arjun Aloysius and Kasun Palisena had aided in the criminal breach of trust committed by Arjuna Mahendran at the controversial bond auction on the 27th of February 2015.
In more news from court, the case filed against former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and businessman Thirukumar Nadesan for misappropriating 250 million rupees in public funds was taken up for the first time at the Gampaha High Court. The indictments filed against the defendants were read out in the presence of High Court Judge Priyantha Fernando.
President's Counsel Gamani Marapana, who appeared on behalf of Basil Rajapaksa, filed an objection claiming cases cannot be filed against politicians under the Bribery Act. However, High Court Judge Priyantha Fernando dismissed the objections and decided to take up the case. The notary who prepared the last agreement has reported when the deal was taking place, Thirukumaran Nadesan had not appeared. In his evidence, the notary said only an architect by the name of Mudit Jayakodi had arrived. He further said the land, however, was purchased for the name of Thirukumaran Nadesan. The Attorney General had filed indictments against Basil Rajapaksa and Thirukumaran Nadesan for misappropriating 250 million rupees to purchase land in Malvana Gampaha and constructing a luxury house, a swimming pool and a farm on the premises.
Leader of the National Unity Front, Asad Salih, said it is the responsibility of the Minister of Law and Order to take legal action against political party representative involved in the unrest in Kanti.
Writing a letter to the new Minister of Law and Order, Ranjit Madhumu Bandara, Asad Salih said attention should be first paid to this issue. He also said those involved should be arrested without considering their social status.
The National Conference on Promoting a Sustainable Work Life for Women in the Hospitality and Tourism sectors was held to mark International Women's Day in Colombo yesterday. Mayor-elect Rosisena Naika commented on the issues surrounding women representation in local councils.
This is the first time ever we were actually making history of bringing 25% of women to the local councils. But now the dilemma with the political parties is how do we bring in the men who lost? You know, these are men who have actually worked tirelessly on the ground. The women, we just put them in for the sake of putting their names in. Are they worthy of being in these councils? So this debate is going on, and up to now, the Election Commission has not been able to gazette the names and the councils. And I am appalled and I am saddened.
98% of Sri Lankan girls receive a full primary education, and in secondary and tertiary education in this country there are more girls than boys. But sadly it doesn't translate into what is happening in the workplace. Sri Lanka's female labour force participation rate has remained pretty static. It's estimated that if women were able to fill their full economic potential around the world, then 26% could be added to global GDP by 2025. Deep-rooted problems can be overcome. Even deeply entrenched attitudes can be changed. This, of course, requires firm action, and it requires strong leadership.
Sri Lanka is blessed with a rich cultural and historic heritage, and few things exemplify this more than Sigiriya, the ancient rock fortress. Recent excavations at the site have uncovered fascinating artifacts that are bound to enrich the already mysterious story of Sigiriya.
The Central Cultural Fund and the Department of Archaeology carried out excavations on the northern moat of Sigiriya, and it was here that the amazing discovery was made. Archaeologists found a lion's head made of clay, the remains of a human skull, earthenware, tools and utensils, and several beads. Perhaps the most fascinating discovery was several Roman coins. Archaeologists believe the lion skull could have been a memento given to those who visited Sigiriya in ancient times. The discovery of Roman coins is a clear indication of a significant trading relationship between Sri Lanka and the Roman Empire. Sigiriya is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. News First will keep you updated on this discovery and more as excavations continue.
The 139th Battle of Blues between Royal College Colombo and St. Thomas College Mount Lavinia commenced at the SSC grounds in Colombo today. At stumps on day 1, Royal College batting in their first innings were 33 for the loss of 3 wickets.
Royal College skipper Pasindu Surya Bandara won the toss and invited St. Thomas College Mount Lavinia to bat first. The Thomians posted 166 runs with a loss of 9 declared in 64.3 overs for their first innings. Manula Pereira picked up 5 wickets for 43 runs for Royal College. However, the Royal College openers were not successful in making a strong opening in their innings. Opener Bhagya Dissanayake scored only 1 run. When play was stopped for the day, Kavindu Marasinghe was unbeaten on 13. Royal College Colombo trailed St. Thomas College Mount Lavinia by 133 runs with 7 wickets in hand in their first innings.
Is climate-smart agriculture the way forward for food security and rural livelihoods? Stay tuned. Up next to BizFirst Review 360. And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Cyril Fonseca. Good night and God bless.